Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video we'll be talking about two different loops, while and do while. So in our last video we talked about for loop and where we discussed about different ways to loop certain things. So this while and do while are kind of alternative to for loop, so you can use one of the three if you really want to do some operation repeatedly. And the while and do while are pretty similar, but they differ in one important aspect, which I'll be discussing in today's video. So let me go ahead and create a file, and I'm going to create a compact source file, and I'm going to be naming it as while and then loop. And there we go. So what is while loop? Like I said, while loop is also used to iterate some kind of conditions unless particular condition is either true or false depending on what you want, right? So in our last video we talked about printing numbers from certain range, right? For example, 1 to 10. What if we want to do the same thing with while? I can create a condition that is using while loop and do the same behavior. So let me create a number, integer number. So for example, n equals 10, and I want to print numbers from 1 to 10. And the syntax for the while is pretty intuitive. So while and condition, and then here, and then body, and that's all right. So while this condition, and this condition has to be boolean, that means the result of this condition should be, in fact must be, true or false. All right, so I'm going to be writing while, and I'm going to be printing while number, particular number, is less than 10 or not. So what I'm going to do is integer I equals, for example, 0, or let me start it 1. And while I less than 10, but I have already created a variable, that's why I'm going to be replacing it with n, essentially less than 10, because n refers to 10. I'm going to be printing io.println. I'm going to be printing a number. So what am I going to print? I. And then I'm going to be printing space after that. Okay. So I can do print instead of println so that it prints every number on the same line. And let me print, and I will show you why we have issue with this current code. All right. Let me run this. Look at this. So here the same behavior we got with for loop when we were printing something. If you remember, when we were forgetting or when we removed this one, it was executing the same way. And a similar thing happened here. So because we forgot to update the value of I. As of now, I is 1, and 1 is always less than 10. So there is no way for me to come out of this loop. So I must update the value of I. So in this case, I equals I plus 1. And then you can also do I plus plus as a shorthand. If I now run this file, it will only print number from 1 to 10. And if you also want to include 10, you can do less than or equal to 10. And let's mimic the same behavior last time. For example, we were also printing some kind of behavior, like some kind of condition. So let me show you what if we want to break out of the loop when we reach, let's say, 5, right? I don't want to print a 5 or something. I mean after 5. All right, so if I equal 5, I don't want to execute anymore. That's where break comes into play, right? So if you do this, this means this will be printed, and if now I is 5, it will no longer be printed because this loop is going to be exited. So the control comes here. Okay, control comes here when break is encountered. All right, let me run it. And 1 2 3 4, so as soon as it's reached 5, the loop came out, right? So this means the control exited the loop and no longer continued. All right, so this was one of the behaviors of while loop. And so similarly, if you want to execute in other way, we have an alternative. So there is another loop called do while. Let me create another file, and I will be creating a separate file. So do and then while. I'm just going to be naming it as a do while, and we'll be mimicking the same behavior. So the syntax for a do while is do and something body, and then after this body while and condition. All right, so if you pay attention to this syntax, what does it do is it does operation. So this executes this body at least once and then checks for the condition, right? So if there is any situation where you want to execute a certain portion of code at least once before you check the condition, do while is the option to go, right? Even though you can achieve the same thing with while loop as well. Let me create a do while loop. So do certain thing, and I'm going to be using s out and something like do something. Okay, do something while, and I need to give condition. So for example, here it could be true or false, but if I just do, I can pass true or false. So let me run this, but we will have some issue with this code. Look at this, it is infinitely executing. I need to stop because we don't have a way to exit, right? And so for here, we can do 100 or let's say 20, and while a less than 20, right? Or we can say while a less than 20, right? While a less than 20, so 20 is less than 20, it's going to be false. Let me make it true. So a is less than 20, it is true. But now we have to update the value of a so that we can stop the loop when we have reached that condition. So a equals a plus a plus. If you want to increment by 2, that's also fine. But let's increase with 1 because we are interested in printing every number from let's say do something, and I'm gonna be printing a, and now do something 0, do something 1, 2 until 20. So that means 20 will not be printed. Let me run it and do something 19. All right, and let's say you wanted to just write, instead of writing, you just wanted to write while true. And so you can say if a equal 20, you can now break it. Okay, so break. All right, this is also fine because now 20, as soon as we reach 20, it will break out of this and this will no longer be true. So let me run it, and there we go. So it is same as before, right? But now we are using, I'm sorry, but now we are using while true condition. So you can also use here something like true or false, and then when you encounter certain operation or certain condition, and then you can exit based on this break. All right, so now, so let's say I want to show something that it is always executing at least once. So for example, let's say it is already 20, and I'm gonna be all right. So I'm gonna be like editing this. For example, I'm instead of 2, and while a not equals to 2, right? Or I'm gonna be repeating here. For your reference, you can do like this, a not equal to 2, but a is already 2. So I'm also going to be commenting this out so that I can show you this statement is at least executing once, right? So that's the behavior do while shows. So for example, since here a is already 2, if it was a while loop, while a not equal to 2, it would not have executed at least once, right? It would not have executed even one time. But like do while is going to be executed at least once because while condition is after this body gets executed. All right, so let me print it. Look at this, do something too. Even though A, this condition is false, it got executed. But as soon as it encountered this condition, it stopped, right? Because A is already equal to 2. That's how this loop was exceeded. So the do while and while are pretty similar, but it gets executed at least once. And the condition is checked after first it gets executed certain portion of code. All right, so that was like the quick difference in between while and do while, and also how to exit out of the loop and how to continue iterating and how to use true or false here. So for example, you can use, instead of using certain statement, you can also do true, or you can also do false here. Sorry, you can use true because uh, the statement will only execute it when certain statements are true, and then you can check if the condition has reached or it has been invalidated. For example, certain condition is false, then you can break out of the loop. All right, so that was it for this video, and I hope you like it. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section and consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.